I got it. Let's go.
Call it a trick, call it a technique, call it magic. I'm about to teach you the one thing that when I changed it up here, I increased my revenues just like that. And it's super simple. Any of you can do it, one property or many. I am going to increase the amount of money that you make on your Airbnb. Let's jump right in. Welcome back, Airbnb family. So first off, that like button, make it blue, please. I appreciate it. It's great for the video, and hopefully I'll remember to ask you a little bit later. And if you're new to the channel or not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. That subscribe button looks pretty friendly too. So today I want to increase your revenue. I want to make you more money. I'm making a ton myself. We all know I make a few $1,000,000 a year on the Airbnb platform. I have 100 properties, and I've learned all the little things the hard way. But this one was like a paradigm shift. This trick essentially is going to allow you to free yourself from one of the most annoying parts of your Airbnb business and get to making more money. And it's controversial, but I will explain myself. Today's trick to increase your revenue on Airbnb is to stop paying your rent in your mind. Okay, so here's what I mean. I want you to stop paying your rent when you're setting your prices. I want you to take rent out of the equation. So let me first give you the with rent philosophy. Everybody does this. Be like, okay, so my rent's $1,500 a month. That's $50 a day. Somebody's going to stay, it costs me $40 to clean. That's $90. And my Netflix and my internet and my electricity, let's say that's $8 a day. So that's $98. So an Airbnb charges a 3% service fee. So I need to collect $101 to break even. All right, that's my minimum. I'm going to set it at 101. I would then need to, I want to double my money. So I'm going to charge $202 a day is going to be my rate. But I'll go as low as 120 because my break even is 101. All right, so that's probably what a lot of you are doing. And you cannot be so wrong. I mean, that's a great normal strategy, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop paying rent. Kick that out. All right, so let's redo that math. Be like, okay, so my cleaning cost for a guest is $40 and my utilities are $8, service fee somewhere like now it's only like $2. So now we're looking at $50 to break even, right? Because we ignored the rent in this equation. So my break even is $50. I would still like to make 200%, including my rents, so that number can still stick. So my top number is 202, but I will go as low as $70 if I have to, because my break-even point is 50. So now where can this go wrong, if at all? And why is this a better idea? Why is like ignoring your rent a thing? Well, let's tell you why. Well, one thing I want you guys to understand is that your rent, you aren't in control of that number, right? And it's not incremental. There's a couple other numbers here that aren't incremental either. So you could actually forget those too, but I really am not trying to oversell you on this. So let's just start with rent only. See, your utilities aren't really incremental. The only part that was really incremental are your cost of supplies and your cost of cleaning. When you have a new guest, that is a new cost. You have what I would call a holding cost for your home. So what are your holding costs? Well, your rent is your holding cost. Your insurance is your holding cost. Your electricity will fluctuate only so slightly. So 80% of your electric bill is a holding cost, and any other fixed cost, like if you have a manager that's on salary, that becomes a holding cost because the more business you get won't affect how much your manager gets paid. So anything that does not change per guest becomes a fixed cost. You will call that a holding cost. That means that to hold your properties, even if you have 0 guests, that number always stays the same. What I want you to do is I want you to write that number down. I want you to write that down right now. Your rents plus your utilities plus your internet plus your insurances plus any salaried employees, like if you pay yourself a salary, for example, write that all down and make that one thing. Okay, now that's a column A, right? So now column B is your variable costs. Well, your variable cost is like, well, how much in supplies does somebody go through per day in your home? We have like a $35 per month supplies cost on average for our homes. So we kind of take like $1 a day, maybe $1.50 a day. And then our cleaning cost. Well, our true cleaning cost is about $20, $22 per door because we pay our people by the hour. And we have a lot of studios and they're all in the same building. So we've got this really lean cost. That's not going to be your cost, and that's okay. This is still going to work for you. So write that number down. What is your variable cost? $50? And then you've got your $1.50 per day in variable cost for like supplies and stuff, and that's column B. You have your ideal revenues that you would like to make, something that you can make on weekends. And if you've been a host any period of time, you know what you can collect ideally. I do not want you to ever sacrifice that number. Your goal here is to take your biggest reservations and to get those reservations first, right? So I want you to imagine filling a glass. You've got ping pong balls, you've got marbles, and you have sand, right? So let's say you have 4 ounces of sand that you can put in an 8-ounce glass, and you have 2 ping pong balls and you have 6 marbles. Well, if you put the sand in first and then you put the ping pong balls in, the ping pong balls will like come out the top, right? There's not enough room for the ping pong balls. Because if you got your little bookings first, they fill up like your calendar in an odd way, and there's no room for the big ones. So if you wanted to fill this glass up, you'd first put the ping pong balls in the glass, then you'd pour the marbles in, and then you'd pour the sand in, and the sand would work its way around. See, the sand or the small bookings are not your priority. Your priority is the ping pong balls, the big ones. So in this case, your big bookings that you always get, those are your ping pong balls. And then the bookings that you get like 2 weeks out that are in between your high paid reservations, those are your marbles. And then you're going to start filling up the rest of your glass with sand in this example. And this is what you're not getting, is the sand in our case. So the reason why is because you are only pricing for marbles at worst. If you now understand one thing, you will either get $0 for a day, or you will book it and you'll get some dollars for the reservation. And if you can come to terms with this little shift in philosophy, this is what's going to make you all of your revenue. So if you understand that your rents will always be your rents, and if you get 10 more reservations in a month, the column A doesn't change, but column B, you add 10 more instances of column B because you got 10 new reservations. That's your incremental cost increase. So if you have 20 days booked on your calendar and you get $3,000 for your 20 days, column A hasn't changed. Column B has, let's say it's 5 reservations. Well, then you have like $260, $270 because of that $1.50 a day in costs. So column A plus $270 of column B for those 20 days, 5 reservations. Now, let's say you get 5 more reservations for the last 10 days. Well, you have another $270 in cost that gets added, right? So now your costs are holding costs plus the $270 plus $270 again. So now for those last 10 days, as long as you collect more money than $270, that overflows from column B's costs and starts getting contributed towards column A. This is the heart of contribution margin. When you understand this trick, understand the approach of taking a contribution margin mindset to getting your final bookings for the month, this is where you'll make the most money. See, airlines do the same thing. Airlines will price a certain way, and if they're doing really, really good, they'll keep their prices high. But if the plane isn't filling up and they're having a hard time selling seats, they will lower their prices and they'll go to third-party platforms like Orbitz and Kayak, and they'll sell off all of these extra seats at a low, low price to get full the rest of the way. See, they'd rather get $30 for a seat than $0 for the seat because the plane is going to take off either way. You are selling time. It's the weirdest thing, I know. You think you're selling your Airbnb property, but you're selling time. Today, if you don't sell today at this one address, you will never get that day back to sell it ever again. So forget about your rent. It doesn't matter. You're going to pay it anyway. You're getting enough reservations to cover your rent. And now if you can just make a little bit of money above your operating incremental costs, it's going to go a long way. So use this, become more profitable, make more money, even though it's the same amount of work for less profit per day. I get it, but it's still at the end of the month more profit in your pocket, and you can do something with it. You'll be happy you had it. Thank you for watching Airbnb Automated, and I'll see you on the other side.